Hi guys, Thomas here, and I'm here with my Husky 701 Husqvarna, and I will be installing the additional tank from Rade Garage, finally garage here to Seattle, and I want to make a video to help you with the installation. Alright, so let's take a look at what we got inside the box. So this is the OEM tank connection. The Velcro strap, tank bracket. Here it looks like a clear bag of small hardware. The T connection is in there, the vent cap, the petcock. I actually see some additional sleeves. Looks like everything is in there. I'll open it up as I go. Here we got a short tank. Rade has a really good overview on his website, radegarage.com. I'm not really sure from the top of my head of the capacity, but he will let you know. Here's the small clear box, and we got the fuel, black one, and the clear is the vent tube. Here is the oil filter, the foam filter, the carbon cover that goes up here on the top, and finally the filter cage and the frame. So it looks like everything is here, and we can get going. Okay, so the manual says that we should start with the bike that has removed the front and the rear plastics. However, I believe that the rear plastics are removed in order to install the OEM tank connection. If you are members of the ADV rider community, you will see that there is a discussion in the Husqvarna 701 thread that there are a few different options how to install the additional tank. I have decided that I want to use a siphon method, where I'm going to connect the existing vent hose from the original tank to this new one. The reason for that is that I want the secondary tank to be emptied first, and this seems like the best way to go. Of course, you can follow the original installation with the OEM tank connection. But in my case, I will be leaving at least for now the rear plastics on, and I'm only going to be removing the front. So you can see it was quite easy. There are four screws, two from up front, two from the side. The sides have the different sides. They are the shorter ones. The ones from the front are longer, so don't mix it up. And it almost seems like the ones that are in the front like to stay inside the plastic. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Alright, plastics are off. Let's take a look at what the next step is going to be. Alright, so I was wrong. I do have to remove the rear panel in order to remove the original clear box. So that's what I'm going to do next. So after I removed the plastic trim that sits above the tank, I had a little bit of hard time removing the right rear plastic. Now, essentially the trick is to pop the rear first, and then you have to press on the latch that's hidden down here. There's no other way to do it. But in my case, the rear was sitting in the right stiff. I already got it off, so I'm going to pull it on it again, and it comes like that. I have to remove the front, and then carefully, so you guys don't break it, push on the loop. So I found that the best way to push the clip was from the left side of the bike, going with quite a long flat screwdriver, going just behind the shock, pushing the clip in, and then to be able to remove the plastic out. Probably not the best design, but thanks to ADV Rider again, I was able to get there. So now we are going to remove the airbox. So in order to get the airbox out, we need to remove screws that are hidden on both right and left sides. Right in this area, they are covered with plastic pieces. But on the left side, we have the vent hose, and on the right side, we have the voltage regulator. So we need to remove those first. We will leave it hanging on the side, and then we can get to the actual screws for the airbox. So let's get going. Okay, so we got the ECU, or the electronic voltage regulator out. That's a star. Okay, then on the other side we have the same plastic but connected to the hose, and I see that there's a screw all the way up front. Now we also have to remove the plastic that's over the ignition key. I think it just pops right out. Yep, only if it snaps in. So now I can see the whole airbox, and on the left side it's a little bit more complicated because the vent hose that's installed on the left side was inserted into another piece on the left side, and as I was pulling it out, the hose coming down and split out, so I will have to reconnect when I install the gearbox back in, and I will also probably need to replace the zip tie. But with the front removed, I think that the only thing to do is to take out the other screw. So I see one on the left side, and there's another one on the right side. Okay, so the next thing is that we should pop out the ECU that's only holding on the rubber slides, and we'll get it out of the way. So it's like that, and then we need to get the temperature sensor out, which is connected on the other side. There's a zip tie over the connector. So let's see, the gearbox is now loose. So we just have to find a way to pop it up. Oh, and by the way, you have to remove these screws as well. They are the snap-in for the holders for the seat, the snap-in. So I'm going to get them out. Okay, one. And these are 8mm skers. Here's the other one. Oh, there's one more thing. There is a flat screw, okay, that's holding up the ring to the engine. So I need to loosen that up as well before I try to get it out. So guys, when removing the gearbox, there are two clamps that you have to make sure that they are not tight. And in my case, okay, one of them was hidden behind a connector, so I couldn't see it. There's actually a hole for a flat screwdriver that you will need to put the screwdrivers through the hole. The hole is inside the frame to find the clamp, and I'll show you some as soon as I get the airbox fully out. I still have one of the hoses connected, so I'm going to disconnect the hose. Remove the zip tie. And now I need to disconnect the hose. Oops, not that one, that was the lower one. So it's the upper one that you guys need to disconnect, not the lower one. On the right side of the bike. So I need to remember to put it back. Yep. Now the airbox does come out, and the only thing that I need to do is disconnect the temperature sensor here, as I mentioned, with the zip tie. So let's cut that. Right, it's out. Disconnect it, and now finally the airbox is free. Alright, so Rade says to open the original airbox and from the top, which is what I have done. Remove the air filter. Pretty good. I only have about 1500 or close to 1800 miles of off-road, so it's still quite decent. And now he says to put one hand in to squeeze the intake out. So he says put one hand in and squeeze the end before it comes out. So let's see how that's going to go. Alright, one hand in. There are the two sleeves that I mentioned. So this is the outer one. The other one stays in there. And alright. Yeah, so it had logs on the side, so you can see once the logs are oops, that was get it out. These are the locks, okay, that I mentioned, so you have to, okay, pull it out and then you can put it aside. So this is the original box, and okay, this is the intake. Okay, I think that's it, okay, as far as removing stuff from the bike. Let's start putting things together. The next step, okay, is going to be, okay, to assemble, okay, this small, okay, intake. So with the nipple on the right side, we are going to, okay, put, okay, the intake back in, and let's see. Okay, so squeeze the rubber. Okay. And I'm going to tie the larger sleeve, and I also have to replace the sensor from the original airbox, so I'm going to tie this. And let's remove the sensor from the side of the original box. Let's start. Let's see. And that goes okay on the side right here, okay, where the nipple is. So it's like that. And because these holes okay, are just pre-drill, it will require some force for the screw okay, to catch. So I will probably need to use a different tool. This is T10. Okay, so let's give it a shot. This. Yeah, just a little of force, not much. It's a plastic, but as I did the first of a few turns, I was able to push the screws that are in and then tighten it. Okay. Let's see what the next step is. Okay, so the next step actually is assemble the air filter. I have the what they call the cage, and I have the frame. They're also supposed to be M5 bolts that I need to find in the box, and that is the filter itself. So what we are going to do is we are going to first place the cage inside the air filter. Okay, so inside the foam. And it looks like that this should be oiled. The manual says this is pre-oiled, but this is really dry. So I think I'm going to need to soak it first. Okay, so as you can see, I have all the filter, quite a different color from what it was before. I got the twin air clean and oiling kit. It comes with bathtubs, so you can easily put the oil in there, soak the filters, squeeze, let it dry. There's also another bathtub for cleaning. So now I have installed the cage inside the filter. As the manual says, the whole assembly is asymmetric, so there's only one way how to put it together. So with the cage inside the filter, I'm going to place it here, and there is the frame that goes over, and you can see now I have the holes aligned. If I flip it, the holes would not align. So that's what they meant by saying there is only one way to put all of this together. So with the frame over, I'm going to align the holes, put the M5 screws that were inside the bag with the hardware, where the peacock is and the other stuff in, and I'm ready to screw it onto the airbox. So my battery in the camera ran out, but in the meantime, while I was charging it, I was able to finish the assembly of the new airbox. You can see the M5 screws, the cage in, cover over, upper and lower part. So the next step will be to cut the clear tubes to connect to the T, and connect back to the engine parts. So here is the clear tube that Rade supplied as part of the kit. Here is the T, and depending on how you remove the airbox, you may have gotten quite a few extra tubes. Keep in mind that on the left side, the plastic that is attached to the frame has two black tubes attached to it. This is I think the charcoal filtration system. I know that many people remove that, especially here in the US, but I still have it in the bike. I'll probably remove it later. There are a number of different YouTube videos on how to do that. But to finish the installation, what I'm going to do, I'm going to connect the clear tube to the outside of the box. And I also need to, and I'm going to cut it, connect it to the T. So essentially there are three different connections. One is from the outside, one is into the new air box, and the other one is from the SAS sensor on the right side of the bike right here. So I'm going to cut the tubes, and then I'm going to put the airbox inside the bike. Okay, so I have now connected the clear tubes. The left side of the T goes to the black triangle on the left side. The middle part of the T goes towards it's connected to the airbox, and the right side of the T goes to the SAS. The next step is going to be to tighten the airbox. When you put on the second sleeve, make sure that you have the screw in the right position, so you can get to it from the left side of the bike as you originally did. Flat screwdriver, tighten it up. Before I tighten, I also need to make sure that I have seated the airbox correctly. There are cuts inside on the sides of the airbox, and you need to make sure that those cuts sit on the top of the screws that holds the frame of the bike. In my case, it's sitting quite nicely, so I can tie the screw. Okay. And also we're going to make sure that the second ring that I put on is tightened. So a small flat screwdriver going through the side hole, as I did originally, should be able to reach it. Yep. And tighten just slightly more. That's it. So we now have the new airbox installed, and we are ready to start working on the tank. Next, we are going to install the bracket. There are two holes on each side, and the rear hole is smaller. So the small hole rather goes to the rear of the bike. The screws will go from the inside out. And the big holes should align with the front rubber holes in the frame. Okay, so I got the bracket actually installed. You can see okay, that it's nice and snug, doesn't move. But be careful during the installation because, as I mentioned, okay, the screws go from the inside into the rear holes, but the front holes need to actually sit okay, on the rubber inserts. And what I have done is I started to tighten to the right side and pushed the rubber out. So the best way to do this is to insert the screw, just tighten it by hand, do the same on the side, and then symmetrically tie left and right until you get the nice snug and full fit. And you can see that I can probably tighten it a little bit more. I'm going to do that. But the tank goes in like that. You can see a nice fit, sits on the rear bracket. So I'm going to tighten it now, then I know that it fits. It sits on the front part of frame, on the horizontal tube. So the last step will be to connecting the fuel line into the vent in the rear, and I'm done. Okay, so now when we have the air box with the filter in, the bracket, it's time for the tank. So you can see I have attached the black hose to the bottom nipple with the supply clamp, and now it's time to route the fuel line. If you are going to use the rate method described in the manual, you will be routing from the top to the right side, to the rear of the bike. However, as I mentioned, I'm going to use the siphon method, and I have seen folks that have been routing the line over the battery. I don't like it as much, so I will be routing on the right side, and see if how that's going to work. So I'm going to place or insert the tank in, making sure that the line is not stuck underneath the tank. So I'm going to go probably underneath here. Okay, so that's free. The line is not pinched anywhere. And then ideally I will go behind the frame and up from the air box over, and that's about the right length, assuming that I will be able to connect it in there. So I'll put it out. Alright, so this is going to be better in my case. I just have to make sure that I don't pinch it. And the tank is so I have to go under the bracket and up. That's it. There will be no pinching, it's underneath the bracket. So just make sure that the tank is sitting properly. Yep, perfect. And then I'm going to go like that. And I'm hoping that I'm not going to be short. And into the channel. Yeah. So for now, I'll go like this, and I may redo this later. So in my case, And so it's just a nipple. So let's see if it's the same diameter as the line that Ray supplied. Yep, perfect. So I'm going to remove the bleeding line. And I'm going to connect this actually in there. I'll screw it actually back on, and then I'll try to lay it in the channel, assuming that it's long enough. So the seal. Yep, that's it. Okay, so I think that's it. So in the next step, we are going to reinstall the front plastic and the voltage regulator, and we have to attach it to the tank using the Velcro. Okay, so let's install the triangle, the self-cutting plastic screws that we go into the rear, and the rest of it goes to the front. And the same on the other side. Okay, we also have to put back the screws with the holders for, or yeah, I guess holders or where the seat set is going to sit. Okay, so now it's time to reinstall the screws with the seating for your seat. So I put them, you need to put the tank in first, so I already did that. And now we are just going to tighten. Okay, perfect. Great. So in the next step we are going to install the cover. So here are the female receptors for the M5 screws. So that should go, I think, from the top, or should be the easiest. And it has the plastic in there, so I want to be careful so I don't cut the plastic. I'm probably going to use screwdriver. To open them up a little bit. Yeah, that's much easier. Okay, so now it's time to replace the grommets with the female M5 receptors, those things. So let's take the plastic carefully out.